Is it an inescapable truth that the rich keep getting richer while the poor fall further behind? This question underpins one of the most pressing issues of our time, the widening wealth divide. Some argue that capitalism, by its very nature, creates winners and losers, inevitably leading to this disparity. Others contend that this gap is not an inherent flaw, but rather a symptom of flawed systems and policies. To understand this complex issue, we must delve into the intricate mechanisms that drive economic inequality. By understanding the forces that perpetuate economic disparities, we can begin to dismantle them and build a more just and equitable world. One of the key drivers of the widening wealth gap is the principle of capital accumulation. In essence, money begets money. Those who start with more have a distinct advantage in growing their wealth. This advantage is not merely linear. It has an exponential effect, often described as the Matthew effect. The rich get richer, and the poor get poorer. Imagine two individuals, one starting with a significant inheritance, the other with nothing but their labor. The former can invest their inheritance, generating passive income that grows over time. This income, in turn, can be reinvested, further accelerating their wealth accumulation. The latter, meanwhile, relies primarily on their wages, which are often insufficient to cover basic needs, let alone invest and build wealth. Access to opportunities plays a crucial role in perpetuating the wealth divide. From quality education and healthcare to social networks, and even access to capital, the opportunities available to individuals are often vastly different based on their socioeconomic background. This disparity in opportunities starts early in life and has a cascading effect, shaping an individual's trajectory throughout their lifetime. Consider the stark contrast between children attending well-funded schools in affluent neighborhoods and those in under-resourced schools in disadvantaged communities. The former benefit from smaller class sizes, experienced teachers, and access to advanced coursework, preparing them for higher education and high-paying careers. The latter, often facing overcrowded classrooms, teacher shortages, and limited resources, may struggle to keep up, diminishing their future prospects. This disparity extends beyond education to healthcare, social networks, and even access to basic services like healthy food and safe housing. Addressing the wealth gap requires acknowledging and dismantling these systemic barriers, creating a society where opportunities are truly equal, regardless of one's zip code or socioeconomic background. To fully comprehend the persistence of the wealth gap, we must examine the systemic inequalities woven into the fabric of our societies. Tax policies, for instance, often favor capital income, earned from investments, over labor income, earned through wages. This discrepancy allows the wealthy, who derive a larger portion of their income from investments, to pay a lower effective tax rate than middle and lower income earners. Moreover, lobbying efforts by powerful corporations and wealthy individuals often influence legislation in ways that benefit their interests at the expense of the broader public. Furthermore, discriminatory practices in areas like housing, lending, and employment, often based on race, ethnicity, or gender, create additional barriers for marginalized communities. The intergenerational transfer of wealth, often through inheritance, plays a significant role in perpetuating the wealth divide. When wealth is passed down from one generation to the next, it creates a system where economic advantages and disadvantages are inherited, solidifying the existing social hierarchy. This inheritance is not limited to financial assets, but extends to social capital, networks, and opportunities. Imagine two families, one with a history of inherited wealth, the other struggling to make ends meet. The former's children may benefit from family connections, access to elite schools and universities, and financial support to pursue their passions or start businesses. They inherit not just money, but a network of privilege that opens doors and provides a safety net in times of need. The latter's children, on the other hand, may face limited educational opportunities, lack access to quality healthcare, and struggle to afford basic necessities. Ignoring the significant role of inherited wealth in shaping life outcomes creates a distorted view of social mobility. Debt, often portrayed as a tool for financial freedom, can act as a double-edged sword, particularly for low-income households. While responsible borrowing can provide opportunities for education, homeownership, or business ventures, high-interest debt can trap individuals and families in a cycle of financial instability. Consider the burden of student loan debt, which has skyrocketed in recent years. While education is often touted as a pathway to upward mobility, the high cost of college often forces students from low-income backgrounds to take on significant debt. This debt can delay homeownership, limit career choices, and create long-term financial strain. Similarly, payday loans, often marketed as a quick fix for financial emergencies, can trap borrowers in a cycle of high-interest debt. This cycle of debt can have devastating consequences, not just for individuals and families, but for communities and the economy as a whole. Globalization, the interconnectedness of economies worldwide, has brought about unprecedented economic growth and lifted millions out of poverty. However, it has also contributed to the widening wealth gap, both within and between nations. This is largely due to the uneven distribution of its benefits, with skilled workers and corporations in developed countries often reaping the rewards, while low-skilled workers in developing countries face job displacement and wage stagnation. On the one hand, globalization has created new markets for goods and services, leading to increased trade and economic growth. It has also fostered innovation and competition, leading to lower prices for consumers and a wider array of choices. However, globalization has led to job losses in developed countries as companies relocate manufacturing to countries with lower labor costs. This has resulted in wage stagnation and increased income inequality, particularly for low-skilled workers who face increased competition from cheaper labor markets abroad. Education, often hailed as the great equalizer, plays a pivotal role in breaking the cycle of poverty and fostering upward mobility. However, for education to truly serve as a ladder of opportunity, it must be accessible and equitable for all, regardless of their socioeconomic background. This requires investing in early childhood education, improving the quality of schools in disadvantaged communities, and making higher education affordable and attainable for students from all walks of life. Early childhood education, often overlooked, lays the foundation for future academic success. Investing in high-quality early childhood programs can help close the achievement gap between children from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Moreover, addressing the disparities in educational resources between affluent and disadvantaged communities is crucial. The journey towards a more equitable world where the gap between the rich and the poor is narrowed is not a destination, but an ongoing process. It is about recognizing that a rising tide does not lift all boats equally and that systemic change is needed to create a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. This requires a shift in perspective from a narrow focus on individual success to a broader understanding of shared prosperity. It means recognizing that investing in the well-being of all members of society, not just the privileged few, benefits everyone in the long run. Addressing these injustices is not about handouts or special treatment, but about creating a level playing field where everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. Ultimately, building a more equitable world is not just a moral imperative, it is an economic and social necessity. By working together to bridge the wealth gap, we can create a more just, prosperous, and harmonious world for generations to come. Growing up poor forces you to take risks in the pursuit of wealth. Overcoming the fear of taking risks, therefore, becomes a habit. Practical steps such as budgeting, saving, investing, and understanding credit can pave the way to financial independence. By prioritizing financial education, we can equip everyone with the skills to build a secure and prosperous future.